Peter Wood, Commissioner Peter Wood. Good afternoon.
Hi, how's it going? Just a second. Hi, I'm Peter Wood. I'm a Ward 1 resident and Commissioner for ANC 103 in Adams Morgan. Many of the budget items my constituents and I prioritize have already been mentioned at other meetings this month. But what I do want to emphasize today is the need to recognize the ongoing public health crisis as a wake-up call. This past fiscal year is perhaps a once-in-a-lifetime moment in which society's divisions were made painfully evident. There's no pretending that we can't see what budget strategies work and which have left people hurting even worse than before. There are plenty of complexities and nuances that are worth addressing, have been addressed before, and which can't be compacted into a few minutes of testimony. Yet, in a sense, every year's budget boils down to two simple questions. What do we want to spend money on, and how should we pay for it? The answer to that first question, at least to me, is very clear. We invest in our most vulnerable in order to see our entire community thrive together. I've previously advocated for survivors of domestic violence, those dealing with housing instability, underpaid laborers, and undocumented migrants being prioritized in this and every budget until those sets of needs no longer exist. The expansive list is longer, but the main point is paramount. A budget reflects our values, and DC needs to value the protection and growth of those struggling to survive. The answer to that second question, how should we pay for it, is also rather clear to me. Those with more pay more, from each according to their ability to each according to their need. I'm one of the millions of people eager to see the District of Columbia be given fair status as a US state. As we get closer to statehood, we must rectify a hard truth. DC is per capita one of the wealthiest places in the world to live, but is also home to deep inequality and systemic suffering. Our budget is the key tool in undoing that, and it starts with supporting those with financial wealth so they can easily invest it in those seeking basic well-being. And to close, I do want to add how I found it fascinating that during this very hearing, Chairman Mendelson's monthly update was sent out, and in it, we see language reflecting the core of the problem many of us are tirelessly trying to point out. Wording like, it's hard to believe several council members are talking about raising taxes, or the word equity presented in scare quotes, as if fair treatment of all DC residents is simply a political talking point. It is this insistence of referring to taxation as inherently bad that hurts people. Collectively pooling resources to take care of one another is one of the bright spots of the human experience. When our public officials say otherwise, it suggests either you'd rather keep money for yourself or that you think the government is incapable of spending tax revenue in a responsible manner. Now is a great time to prove me wrong, invest in the people, and make the great city of Washington, D.C. a universal example of how compassion and governance can be one and the same. Thank you and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Commissioner.